is not the same as literacy. Okay, it is not the same as literacy, but readability means the ease. How easy it is for the patient to read the materials. In bahasa is keboleh bacaan. So how easy the patient can read our text. And then it is actually assessed by purely a mathematical equation. So based on the text, we count the number of sentences, the number of words, the sentence length, the syllabus, and the character. So all this information will be fit into a formula, so that a score will be generated in order for us to say that this text is suitable for which level of education. Okay, and there are several readability formulas available. Those that I shown on the slide are actually for the English language text. So these texts are not appropriate for Bahasa Malaysia text. Okay. According to Dua et al., patient education materials should be written at no higher than grade 6 reading level. Okay, so grade 6 reading level is based on the US education system, which is equivalent to primary 6 or standard 6 in Malaysia. Okay, as I've also shown you, this is the graph taken from the Malaysian education blueprint. Okay, if you look at this is the highest educational attainment for our population. So why is it that it is stated that readability or the material the reading level should not be higher than standard 6 is because if we make it higher than standard 6, there will be lesser number of those in the population who will be able to read the text with ease. Okay, this is the changes in the educational attainment of our population. Okay, and you can see that this is no schooling and this is primary school. Okay, if we make the education material, the readability level higher than that, okay, so most of the population may not be able to read the text with ease. They will have difficulty in understanding the material. All right. Although literacy is not the same, but the same as readability, but of course you need to be able to read first before you can even understand the material. Okay. Okay, for Bahasa Malaysia text, actually we have a formula available. Okay, the formula is called Khadijah Rohani's readability formula. It was developed in 1982 and it was originally used for evaluating textbooks. Okay, textbooks. So this is Khadijah Rohani actually formulated this formula as part of her PhD thesis. And it was used to evaluate the readability of textbooks. All right, this is the formula. However, it is only applicable to texts that have at least a minimum of 300 words. Meaning that if the text have lesser than 300 words, then this formula cannot be used, unfortunately. All right, because this is constructed for textbooks. Of course, textbooks will have more than 300 words. At least the passages for each chapter is more than 300 words. Okay, this is the after you have calculated the formula, you have calculated the whatever information that is required, the number of words, the number of sentences, and also the syllabus. You will get a number. Okay, you get a number and then you count. Okay, you come up with a number. So that will actually indicate the readability level. I mean the appropriateness. Which level is it appropriate? Okay, for example, if it is a 5, then that means the material can be read with ease by those who achieved at least the primary 5 education level. Okay, so this is interpreted based on our education system. All right, so because it's developed for Bahasa Malaysia text. Okay. All right, and in addition to that, this actually, quite a recent project by Dr. Hafiz Zakaria from UTM, who took that Khatijah Rohani and turned it into an online system. Because Khatijah Rohani requires you to actually count manually, okay, count the words, the sentences, the syllabus, etc. manually. So this project by Dr. Muhammad Hafiz actually has came up, the team came up with online, online system that enables us to measure the readability level easily. Okay, this is the system. It's named as Spike, Sistem Penilaian Kebolehbacaan Bahasa Melayu, right? It is an online tools and it is actually designed for people with dyslexia. Okay, so when you use this system, they will give two readings, one for normal users and another one for the dyslexic. So it is very useful actually. Okay, I'll just show you how the system looks like. Okay, this is from the paper. Okay, this is from the paper, and then it was first actually published in 2017, and then I have also contacted the author. Hazawawi is actually the student, and the leader is Dr. Hafiz. So I have contacted Dr. Hafiz, and he gave me the the link to the website. So if you are interested to use that to assess the readability of your text, of your education materials, you can actually go to this website. Okay, you can just log in using your Google account. Okay, this is when you go to this website, this is what you're going to see. Okay, and then this actually is very useful. This website is very useful. This can be used to assess an individual patient as well. You know, if let's say you have a patient who are dyslexic, okay, and even normal patients, you want to see that particular patient's readability level, you can use it on your patient. Okay, if you are using it on the patient, then you can just use complete this section, the profile, and then there is a module ujian saringan dyslexia. There are several questions, and then you just answer yes or no to the questions. By default, it is no, meaning that you are able to do all those that's listed. By default, it is no, but if you answer yes to any of the questions, then the score will be different. Okay. And after that, you can go to this module ujian kebolehbacaan, and if you want to assess your individual patient's ability, so you can use this one. So you can choose the text. You can choose the text. It is already, the text is readily available there. So you just choose the text that you want, and then you will have, there is a like a counter clock, you put in the text there, and then you will have the start button, and then ask your patient to read. After your patient has finished, then you can click the stop button. Okay, so the formula will actually measure how long does the patient takes to read the whole passage according to the level. Okay, this is for individual patient, but if you want to assess the readability of a pamphlet, of a booklet or pamphlet or your health education materials, so you can just go to this. You can just click Spike here. Okay. So that one will take you through this page where a bit below. Okay, this is where you can insert the text. Okay, this is where you can insert the text. So you can just copy the whole text and put it in the column, right? However, the text must be at least 300 words. So that is quite an issue if you have, because our education materials, sometimes the pamphlets, the the words are actually less than 300. So this is actually one of the drawbacks of this system. However, you know, this is what we have now. This is the best of what we have now. You know, perhaps there will be somebody, you know, later on to come up with a formula for, you know, the text that are below than 300 words that is most appropriate for health education materials. All right, but for the time being, this is what we have. Okay, so you can just put in the text here. Okay, and then you can click process. Okay, and then they will give you the readings of this tahap kau boleh bacaan. Okay, sorry. Right. So okay, I have just now you know, I put in the text. Okay, so they will just put in the readings, and this is the results. The results is at 10. Okay, 10 meaning that you read with the Khatijah Rohani's level just now. Okay, so you can see 10 is at what level, right? So you go back. Okay, right. So 10 means secondary 4. Okay, meaning that form 4, meaning that the text that I have put in just now is appropriate for those with at least form 4 education level. Okay, form 4 education level. So this is the results, and yes, and then they also give you interpretation. So they say that karangan is sukar. Sukar. So this is the levels. Okay, tahap 7, that the one that we have just now is 10. Okay, so this is tahap 7 to 11. Teks sesuai untuk yang berumur 13 hingga 17. Okay, 13 hingga 17. Of course, there's a range, and we know that for 13, that may be difficult as well. So that's why it said that karangan is sukar. So that's how you assess readability, right? Okay, and other issues with readability formulas are because readability is just one factor actually that affects the ease of understanding of what is being read. Okay, and it does not measure a person's level of comprehension, although it is often used as a guide to indicate comprehension. It also ignores the literacy skills, the culture, and life experiences, because it's just formula. Okay, it's just formula. How many words, how many sentences, how many syllables, so it's just formula, right? And the extent of understanding of information can be influenced by many other factors that are not included in the readability formulas. These include the language used and its structure, the content, layout, etc. Okay, so we can't just depend on readability. So that's why it is a combination. If we want to see the quality, is combination of readability and suitability. So we have to look at both components, right? So suitability is the extent of comprehension and acceptance of the information by those who read the passage. Okay. It considers factors that are essential for ease of understanding of written materials. For example, the graphics, the layout, the text coherence. So it looks at another aspects of health education besides just the number of words. Okay, so it takes into consideration as these are the important things. Of course, when we produce health education materials, or even if we are as consumer, if we want to read any materials, you know, we will be more interested in looking at materials that are, you know, have a nice layout, you know, not too crowded, have a good, you know, color, you know, and then the quality of picture as well. So those things, those aspects are considered under suitability. Okay, and there are several tools available actually to measure suitability. This include the suitability assessment of materials, SAM. This is quite a famous instrument. It's a widely used instrument, in fact, and in fact most commonly used than others. Okay, and then this is developed by Dua et al. Dua et al. Is the one who suggested that readability of materials should be at least grade 6. Okay, at most. And then the assessment of suitability is done by healthcare providers. Okay, this is the SAM instrument. Okay, it has 22 items categorized into 6 evaluation criteria. Okay, the first evaluation criteria, or you want to call it domain as well, you can call it domain. There's content, literacy demand, graphics, layout and typography, learning stimulation and motivation, and cultural appropriateness. There is an explanation for each and every one of these. Okay, and then this suitability assessment, some instrument also include reading grade level. Okay, because of course, because this is developed by Dua et al. Okay, so he included this reading grade level in the SAM instrument. There are authors who use this SAM instrument for assessing their health education materials, but by removing the reading grade level, because for example, it's also being used to assess materials in other languages. So if it is being used to assess text in other languages, this item was removed. You know, the authors have removed this item, and instead replacing it with the assessment that is more appropriate for that particular language. For example, if you're using SAM to assess the Bahasa Malaysia text, then you can use SAM with Khatijah Rani's formula, right, to assess that particular item. All right, this is the implementation of SAM. Okay, SAM has many issues actually. Some of the issues with regard to the scoring, because it is quite subjective for the majority of evaluation criteria, because it allows certain level of freedom, and you can see that the range is quite large, 70 to 100% to say that the material is superior. So there's quite a large variation here. So it has received critical comments by authors. However, until other tools came along, SAM has been widely used. Okay. And it also does not evaluate the quality and scientific accuracy of the information. So that's another drawback of SAM. All right, this is a relatively new instrument, patient education material assessment tool, or in short, you can call it, I'm not actually, honestly, I don't know how it is pronounced, correctly. Some people call it PMAT, some people call it PMAT. So I think it's up to you how you want to pronounce it. But as long as it's the same, we are referring to the same material, but I call it PMAT. Okay, PMAT is emerging in the literature as a valid and reliable tool for evaluating the quality of patient education materials. It was developed by Shoemaker et al. In 2014 to measure the understandability and actionability of material. Okay, so understandability refers to the ability of patients to process and explain the key messages, whether the patient can understand the material, okay, and actionability means whether they can take the appropriate action based on the messages. So not only they need to be able to understand, but they must be able to act on it. Because of course in health education materials, when we give whatever messages that we want to give the patient, we want them to be able to actually do, or act upon whatever information that we give to them. Okay, and PMAT has two versions, PMAT P and PMAT AB. The author, Shoemaker, has actually divided it into whether the questions or the items in the questionnaire, this is the one to evaluate printable, and this is the one to evaluate audiovisual materials. Unlike SAM just now, SAM has been used to evaluate both. Okay, so that's why there's some arguments as well that some of the questions may not be appropriate for audiovisual material. But now with this particular tool by Shoemaker et al., so you can assess the materials accordingly. Okay. Right. So this is the different. This is something that is at the added value of PMAT actually. All right. This is the document or because the questionnaire actually comes with a user's guide, so it's very easy to use because it comes with a very comprehensive user's guide. So this is the original document. So the questionnaire is at the back of that user guide. So it started off with there's some introduction and then explanation of each of the item, and then at the back there is the questionnaires. Okay, so it is developed to be used by both lay and health professionals, meaning that because because the user guide is very comprehensive, so not only health professionals can use this instrument. The lay person can also use the instrument to assess our health education materials. And the questionnaires are self-administered. Okay, and altogether there are 19 understandable items and 7 actionable items. Okay. Okay, these are the total number of items, but because there are 2 versions, the audiovisual material and the printable version, so not all items are included in both. Okay, I'll just show you the each of it. Okay, this is Permat P. Okay, so Permat P has 17 understandability item and 7 actionability items. Okay, so you can see that the numbering are not consecutive because there are certain items that are not relevant, so it's not included in Permat P, but it is included in Permat AV. Okay, so there are skips, for example, but I think Permat P has it all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. There's no 13 and there's no 14. Okay, why there's no 13 and there's no 14? Because 13 and 14 are only applicable for audiovisual. So it's not included in this printable version. Okay. Right. Okay. This is Permat AV. You can see here 13 and 14 are here. Okay, in the AV version. Okay, in the AV version. All right, so meaning that these are the questions. So number 2 is not here because number 2 is not relevant to AV version. Okay, so that's why it's not here. So the numbers are not consecutive, right? And the scores are calculated and interpreted separately. So you can't combine the scores, the understandability scores and actionability scores. It is interpreted separately because it meant different things. Okay. All right. Permat has been adapted for use in Bahasa Malaysia. Okay, this is actually Dr. Wong's research project when he did his doctorate in data public health here at USM under my supervision. So this is actually the work of Dr. Wong, right? So the team managed to, successfully translated and adapted Permat into Bahasa Malaysia, which we designate as Permat P, M, Permat AVM, and Permat M User's Guide. Okay, and both questionnaires underwent through several rounds of psychometric testing, and it is proven to be reliable and valid. I'm not going to go into the details of the psychometric testing here today, but I just want to show you and to share with you the instruments that we have developed. Okay, this is a booklet. Okay, it is available in soft copy as well. Okay, if you want to use this, you can always request it to or Dr. Wong. Okay. All right, these are the Permat M, the printable version. Okay, the printable version. All right. The numbers are the same. Number of items, I mean. Okay, and this is Permat AV. Right. So in terms of the adaptation, okay, this is the original. Okay, what I'm showing you is the original version, and this is the adapted version. All right, and this is just to show this is item 1. So item 1 is available in both Permat printable and Permat visual. So item 2 is only for printable. So this is only item 2 and it's P. So this is to show you where can you find the items. Okay, right. So as you can see, because this now the text are very small, so you can see clearly what does understandability measures. Okay, under understandability domain. So it measures the content. Bahan tersebut memaparkan tujuannya dengan sangat jelas. Okay, bahan tersebut tidak mengandungi maklumat atau isi kandungan yang tersasar daripada tujuan. Okay, these are the questions in the questionnaire. Okay, in the questionnaire. In the guide, there's an explanation for each of these items with examples. Okay, with examples. Meaning that the examples are given. When you say that bahan tersebut memaparkan tujuan yang jelas, there are clear examples of the examples of materials that that where you can score it, as setuju or tidak setuju. The score is very simple. Tidak setuju or setuju. Okay, and if it is not applicable, then TB. TB means tidak berkenaan. Okay, so it's easy for you to score, but the explanation is given whether to guide you in your scoring. Okay, I'll just go through this quickly. Okay, this is the audiovisual aids. Okay, there's elemen batu pandang, mengukuhkan bukan menyasarkan, so this is very comprehensive. The elemen batu pandang mempunyai tajuk dan caption yang jelas. Ilustrasi gambar yang jelas tidak berserabut. Jadual yang ringkas dengan tajuk yang pendek jelas dengan baris dan laju. So is actually exactly what we want our materials to be lah, kan? Very clear caption, very clear title, clear illustrations, clear pictures, not cluttered. So these are all the qualities that we want in our education materials. Alright, I think I can go through this rather quickly. We can always go back if you want to have a look. Okay, these are the examples of assessment. I'll just show you the examples. Okay, this is item 4 when we want to assess. Item 4 is istilah perubatan tidak digunakan atau hanya digunakan untuk membiasakan pembaca dengan istilah tersebut. Apabila digunakan, istilah perubatan tersebut diberikan maksudnya. Okay, so this is example of a material. Okay, there are istilah perubatan here. Diabetes, chronic sinusitis. Okay, there are medical terms, meaning that medical terms are used in these materials, but these are not explained. So in this particular material, you need to score tidak setuju for this particular item because it's not being explained what is the meaning. Okay. Alright. Nombor yang digunakan dalam bahan tersebut adalah jelas dan mudah difahami. Okay, for example, berus gigi bayi 2 kali sehari. Okay, the number, there's a number there. However, the number is not clearly explained when exactly the teeth should be brushed. So there should be further elaboration by mentioning in the morning or at night before going to sleep. So here the score would be should be tidak setuju. Okay, bahan tersebut membahagikan maklumat kepada bahagian-bahagian yang kecil. Okay, so you can see that this is an example. So there's clear, this is divided into smaller chunks here, jenis 1, jenis 2, jenis 3. This versus another materials that, put it all together. Senarai makanan yang memerlukan penandaan tarikh. So just list everything together. Perhaps the author can actually divided the foods into their their categories that are appropriate, so that it's easy for the audience to read. Bahan tersebut menyediakan rumusan. So at the end of the materials, there should be the take home message. The take home message after reading, for example, pamphlet. So on the last page, there should be a small take home message. What should the audience understand? It's like a summary. Okay. Bahan tersebut menggunakan penanda visual, anak panah, kotak bulat, huruf tebal, huruf besar-besar, highlight untuk menarik perhatian. So there should be use of bolds, highlights, different colors of the words to to highlight certain points that you want the audience to to pay attention to. Okay. Bahan tersebut menggunakan elemen bantu pandang. For example, satu keping roti canai. Ada gambar roti canai kat sini. Okay, so it's very clear. Satu keping karipap, there's a picture of karipap here. Okay. Sorry. Elemen bantu pandang dalam bahan tersebut mengukuhkan dan bukan menyasarkan tumpuan terhadap isi kandungan. Okay, this is example of the use of elemen bantu pandang. For example, and of course the element bantu pandang must be appropriate. So demam, there's a picture of thermometer kan. Ruam ada gambar situ. Sakit sendi letak gambar tangan, joints kan. Right. So meaning that the the element bantu pandang used are appropriate. Versus for example here faktor risiko, tajuk faktor-faktor risiko. Jika anda mempunyai faktor-faktor risiko berikut, peluang anda mendapat penyakit angin hama adalah tinggi. Tekanan darah tinggi, bla 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 bla. Okey, tapi gambar yang diletakkan sini, is not appropriate. This is the gambar of vegetables. Right? So it's not appropriate to the content. So dia tidak mengukuhkan. Meaning that the element batu pandang does not mengukuhkan. It in fact menyasarkan tumpuan terhadap isi kandungan. Elemen batu pandang mempunyai tajuk atau caption yang jelas. Okay, for example here there's no caption. So for laymen, they may be wondering what is this? What is this? So even though if we are talking about Sapuan, Vanis, Florida, for us we know when we see this picture we know right away what this what this scientist is doing to the child. It's also not appropriate to the points given. For example, give the child some food and drink and make sure the child's teeth are brushed clean. But the picture that follows is actually the picture of fluoride varnish being applied. Okay, so it's not really appropriate. Okay, so it does not and it does not have any caption as well. Elemen bantu pandang mempunyai tajuk atau caption yang jelas. Okay, for example here we have two examples. Bersihkan bayi anda dengan menggunakan kain bersih dan lembut atau bersih gigi bayi. Versus bersihkan bayi anda apabila, I have to move my picture. Okay. Okay, so sorry. So this one is quite simple. This one is very simple. So you compare to this picture that's very clear caption. Bahan tersebut menggunakan ilustrasi dan gambar jelas dan tidak berserabut. Okay. If you look at these two pictures here, okay, this one has a very clear label of each organs versus this one. There's some photos here and there's some list of panduan pencegahan, but it's just that we have to assume which relates to which, which relates to which one, right? Bahan tersebut menggunakan elemen batu pandang apabila elemen tersebut boleh menjadikan isi kandungan lebih mudah difahami. Contoh ilustrasi sains hidangan. Okay. This is example of a poster. Awas penyakit chikungunya. Okay, first is and another item is bahan tersebut merujuk kepada pengguna secara terus apabila menggambarkan tindakan. Okay, so this particular message does not directly address the user. So we should use anda because this is very general, memusnahkan. So where we want to instruct the patient, okay, anda macam banyak direct punya inilah. So they know that when they read, they know that this is for them. Okay. Okay, and the poster should use visual aids. Okay, so it is useful if there is usual, for example, repellent. Maybe there's a picture of repellent. Bubur racun pembunuh jentik-jentik. Maybe there's a picture of this racun pembunuh jentik-jentik tu. So those kinds of things. And then bahan tersebut menggunakan elemen bantu pandang apabila elemen tersebut boleh menjadikan yang tadilah, boleh menjadikan isi kandungan lebih mudah difahami. So mungkin boleh ada some pictures. Bahan tersebut boleh menyediakan elemen praktikal, perancang menu, senarai semak apabila elemen tersebut boleh membantu pengguna mengambil tindakan. Okay, this is example of pamphlet jantung tersayang teruskan berdenyut. The pamphlet should use visual aids to make the content easier to understand. Okay, and then there's no tangible tools such as checklist to assist user to take action. Okay, macam contoh periksa paras glukos. How? Awasi paras kolesterol. Macam mana? Apa yang paras kolesterol? Appropriate, what's not appropriate. So, meaning that if in terms of actionability, the audience or the patient may not be able to take the action based on the message because the message is not clear. Alright, so in conclusion, health educators commonly use patient education material to increase the knowledge and improve the attitudes and skills of patients and the general public. And patient education materials can increase the quality of care provided in clinical practice by facilitating delivery of relevant health information to patients in busy clinical settings, improve the health literacy of patients, and enable patients to better manage their own health. So the production of well-designed and easy to understand patient education materials is therefore essential to ensure the effective delivery of health messages needed to support patient self-care. Okay, these are the references that I cited in the presentation just now. Okay, with that I thank you. Okay, and I pass the session back to Wong.
Hi. Thank you, Prof, for this informative and comprehensive presentation. I'm sure the audience will agree with me that it was indeed a great presentation. So indeed, evaluations or assessments of patients' education materials is an area that we should explore further because the governments invest so much in the oral health program for especially the school children. So we want to make sure that investment, especially on health promotion, is done, is well justified with what we are doing. So now we should now open this webinar with question and answer. And I would like to open this to the participant for this seminar. Actually, we have one question just now in the chat box by Dr. Badaria. So she said that her question is, can this spike, SPIKE, be used to assess individuals' memory to know if he has regained some memory on certain education level? The question from Dr. Badaria.
Okay, as I have presented just now, Spike was developed mainly actually for patients with dyslexia. For patients with dyslexia, as in research, when we develop a certain material, it is specific and it is tested for patients with dyslexia. If we are to use it for other patients for other purpose, it needs more testing. But for individual purpose, for if let's say you want it for individual patient that is not dyslexia, but same but you intend to evaluate certain aspects regarding the readability or something that is similar qualities that you want to test, then I wouldn't say that you can use it, but because it's meant for other purpose. But I think it's up to you. But for if you're using it for research or for purpose of a study, then it needs to be tested on that particular population first before it can be used. Because it will not be valid for that particular population because it was developed for a certain target group. It was tested and validated for that particular target group, which are the dyslexics. But if you're going to use it for other groups that, that related, that is quite similar, you need to test it first to make sure it is valid and reliable for that particular population.
All right. Thanks, Prof. Iza, for the answer. Dr. Badaria, do you have anything to raise up from? If not, then there's another questions by Dr. Hasrina. Her question is for PERMAC evaluation. Will it be better to have more than one evaluator, and calculate the average of assessments, or one assessor is enough to assess the education's materials?
Yes, normally we use several assessors. That one I think Dr. Wong also can answer that question. Yeah, we use several assessors to evaluate the materials, Dr. Hasina.
Okay, so thanks, Prof. Iza, for the question.
It's just that the number of assessors that you need, would depends because that is a long questionnaire and it requires a commitment by the assessor because you have the materials and you have the guide. You have to read through the guide in order to answer. So and there's an issue of commitment of the assessor. But we do invited more than one assessor to assess the materials.
Yep. So thanks, Prof. Iza, for the second questions. We have the third questions. Question number 3 by Dr. Muhammad Farid Nordin. So she said that bagaimana pula dengan material yang dihasilkan untuk perkongsian social media? Adakah proses evaluation yang sama perlu dilakukan?
Perkongsian social media ni, is that audiovisual or printable? Because printable materials can also be shared on social media, kan? It goes back to the type of material. If it is printable or whether it's audiovisual, actually all materials should be assessed. But of course, I mentioned just now, and in fact, the assessment has not been done until only recently. Because, for example, we know that your Ministry of Health is the main provider of healthcare in our country, and we have so many materials, patient education materials in the archive, under My Health, kan? There's so many materials there, and actually he has not been assessed until only recently. I would say that until recently when Dr. Wong took up this project, so when he was posted to the health education department, Wong, under the Ministry of Health.
Public health program.
Under the public health program, actually the officers, the health educators over there, they wanted to learn from Dr. Wong at that time. So they have not actually assessed the materials that's being used all this while.
Yep. Thanks, Prof. Iza, for the answer. So we have 4th questions by Dr. Fayana. Her question is, if the patient have disability like slow learners, is the SPIKE valid for them? SPIKE valid for them?
Slow learners. Okay. I suppose perhaps I would encourage you to contact the authors of that particular, because I can't answer on behalf of SPIKE because I'm just sharing the SPIKE with you. But as I mentioned just now, the questionnaire when it is being developed, it has a specific target group. So I'm not too sure whether the authors of SPIKE has actually expanded the use of SPIKE to other groups of patients. I'm not too sure of that. So I would recommend that if you want to use Spike for other groups of patients, you can actually contact the authors to ask them whether perhaps they have actually expanded the use. Because you know, the last time I contacted Dr. Hafiz, that was in 2009 lah, when I was preparing for this material for UKM. I contacted him, but he only replied to me after I have presented this talk to UKM. And then that's when he shared the link that I shared with you just now. And I'm not too sure whether they have taken the step further to validate the formula to other groups of patients. Okay. So you can check because in the reference I give you the list, or in the list of reference you can see that yeah, this is the paper. Okay, this is the paper, and you can always search for Dr. Muhammad Hafiz Zakaria UTEM. Okay, you will find his email and you can just email and ask. He will respond to your email. And then you can ask if actually he has done any project, because this is quite a big project actually. This is quite a big project, and I'm sure they will be expanding the use of Spike to other groups of patients as well. Because as you can see here, okay, so this is, you know, when you go to the link, this comes first, meaning that specialist in special needs awareness on research. So this is a big project, so I'm sure they will expand it to a larger larger groups of patients, not only dyslexics, but for the time being they are focusing on the dyslexics. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Prof, for the questions answers. So now we have a question. We still got a few more questions. Question number 5 by Dr. Kurudevan. So his question is: usage of infographics, PM, patient education materials, is trending nowadays. Means very less words. In your opinion, are the evaluations tools still feasible?
Yes, because infographic would fall under audiovisual. Audiovisual. It falls under, it's just not under visual, but it's under printable. But sorry, let me share the. All right, it's quite small now. Right. Because the infographic still have it still needs some caption. There's picture there, you know, and then it must have a title. It must you know, all the elements that you would assess can still be assessed in infographics. So yes, you can use, I'm showing AV now. Okay, so you can still use PMAD to assess the infographic materials. Maybe Wong can share also some of you. I think you have done it. Have you done it to assess the infographics, Wong?
Yes, Prof. I done that for the oral health education's infographics. So infographic is very short. So meaning that it's considered very short material. So certain PMAD P items will not be relevant. For example, like rumusan or the summary. So because infographic is so short already, it's already a rumusan by itself. So that item we consider tidak berkenaan or not applicable.
Yes. So, but at least some of the items that is in the questionnaire you can still use to make sure your health education materials is of good quality and it is understandable and actionable. So I would recommend that you know, for you to use the because these tools is actually for us to assess whether our materials because that's the aim, isn't it? When we produce our materials, we want the patient to be able to understand the material and take action of it. So that's the aim when we produce any health education material for whatever reason, you know, whether it's for research purpose or whether it's purely for education purpose. We want the patient to be able to understand and act on it. And this tool is available for use. Okay, this tool is available for use, and then although you know, as Dr. Wong mentioned just now, some of the items are not applicable for infographic, but you can still use, you can still assess and use other items, because in terms of calculation, at the end, when you calculate the score, the denominator will be only the items that you assess. Okay, meaning that the denominator will be reduced. You only evaluate that against the item that you can assess.
Yep. So questions number 5 complete. So we go for question number 6, Professor.
Yep.
So question number 6 is by Dr. Nizam. His question is the PERMAT-M guideline by MADPHS USM available in the market or sold by Pandemic USM?
Okay. It is not for selling, but we can share it because it was developed for research purpose. It's actually, as I mentioned just now, for Dr. Wong's doctorate project lah. It's for Dr. Wong's doctorate project, and we have been sharing these documents, the soft copy and hard copies. I think to all TPKNs or to all states, can you distributed to the TPKN's office, and there are also several individuals that requested from us, and we share as well. So basically, we just want to share. We're not going. It's not for selling at this point of time. We're not making any profit out of this. It's more of sharing of knowledge.
Yeah, we are allowed to sell to cover the cost of productions, but that's it by the original author, the condition given by them. But I think, Prof, but I think they can email me for the soft copy. I can email them if I want a copy. Yeah. So I put my email in the chat box for that.
Yeah, if you request the questionnaire, because it comes with the guidebook, so we can just share the guidebook. Because that's the purpose of we do the research and, you know, sharing of knowledge. You know, so that more people, I mean, we can learn from each other. We can share our, you know, the knowledge with others. So of course, I would be also interested to use other authors or other, if you have any questionnaire that you develop, okay, it may be, you know, relevant to our research, and I'll be happy to use other people's work as well. Because it saves the trouble. I don't have to, you know, validate and again. So this questionnaire PERMAT has been validated by our team. So it is, you are most welcome to use it.
Yeah. So the book had been delivered to all the medical school in Malaysia. Most of the public university, the medical school library, they also have it. So you can find it from the library's catalog if you want to see the soft copy, hard copy. But the soft copy, I can email to you by emailing to me about, I think 80 megabyte like that. Yeah. So if not, then we should move to question number 7, Professor.
Yep, sure.
We still have more questions coming in. So number 7 is by none other than our president of MADPHS, Prof. Tuti. She said, is it recommended that we assess the materials before we actually finalize the material for public use? Is that being done anyway?
Yeah, that's why, as I mentioned just now previously, we publish the materials without assessing the quality, particularly the understandability or actionability of the materials. Now that we have this instrument, it is recommended that, you know, if we want to make sure that the materials that we produce is, you know, is of good quality. You know, good quality meaning I'm referring to both qualities that that we are referring to, understandability and actionability. If you want to ensure that, then of course, by all means, this is highly recommended. We should assess it at least from the score. Then we can see whether there are certain aspects that we can improve. For example, if the materials is being assessed as the illustrations are not appropriate, or there's no caption, or there are certain items that the assessors did not agree to, tak setuju. So we can always relook at the health education, and we can improve it further. Because as I mentioned just now, the main point of producing the materials is to make sure that the audience can understand and can take action based on it.
Yep. Thanks, Professor, for the answer. So there's a last question, I think, by Dr. Annie, our host for today. Can Prof give an example, in your opinion, the best education material using PERMAT?
The best education materials.
I think the best PM.
Oh, the best PM.
I believe that's what she meant.
So far, I think from based on our assessment, there's some mixed results. So then it wrong. Some materials have, they may have a high score overall, but there are certain items that are scored, as I mentioned just now, tak setuju, which requires relook. So when we assess the material, not only we look at the score, because otherwise 100% in both lah kan. Kalau 100% kita kata perfect lah. 100% perfect, but I'm not sure. I think that so far, have you seen any 100% in both, Wong?
Yes, Prof. For 23 one, actually there are some material that are very good for one part lah. So let's say understandability, but maybe their tindakan or the actionability is not that good. But we do have some very good one. It's not like saying that having this permit around, then we try to penalize people. No, if they get 100% for keboleh fahaman, understandability, and keboleh tindakan, actionability, then we give them due credit. So of course there's always a room for them to improve.
Because but however dia macam mungkin ada materials that can get full score for both for both areas, actionability and understandability and actionability, but it's jarang dijumpai lah, I would say. Mungkin banyak yang high scores kan, banyak yang high score. Banyak yang high score because our materials are not actually banyak yang bagus sebenarnya, banyak yang bagus. Cumanya the reason why we use this assessment so that we can actually point which aspect or which item that the material is lacking. So when we report, when we use this tool, we report not only the percentage, not only the percentage, because the percentage may be meaningless to some. It's just percentage, 100%, 99%, 97%, 87%, or if it 100%, then of course understood all items are good. But if let's say you score 95% versus maybe 89%, it is more important for us who develop the questionnaire to look at which item that's actually lacking, so that we can improve the material according to the item that's lacking. I think that's more important for us as those who are involved in developing materials.
So that's what we professors meant. Actually, maybe I can share my experience about that. Like just now, professor share about the brushing teeth twice a day. So let's say that material could be a pamphlet. It score 95% for everything, for the understandability, keboleh fahaman. But it have a drawback or the pitfall because of that. Not the number tidak jelas. So I got 0 because. But you can say that is a very good material, but to us, this 2 times a day, 2 kali sehari is very, very important message. Because we said 2 times a day, the patient only brush twice in the morning, it's still 2 times a day. So that's what Professor tried to bring out. The mark is not the most, it's not what we should look at, but also the content as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So if we have answered the questions, then we move to our, I think probably it's our last questions already. I
Okay.
think number 9 by Dr. Azlan from Muslim. So his question is, can this permit use? Can this permit be used to look for health literacy?
Okay, PERMAT is not meant to assess health literacy. There's another questionnaire available to assess health literacy or even oral health literacy if you're referring to oral health. Okay, there's another questionnaire for that. So to answer the question, no, PERMAT cannot be used to assess the oral health literacy because PERMAT is meant to use, is meant for assessing health education materials. Whereas literacy, we assess the patient, the person, the patient is individual. This PERMAT, we assess the materials. Okay, because literacy is, the quality of a person. Is the variable that belongs to a person, the literacy or oral health literacy. So we have another questionnaire for that. Just to share, the oral health literacy instrument is also available in Bahasa Malaysia. It was translated and adapted by Dr. Zulkifli Ramli, who's also the graduates of Doctorate in Dental Public Health USM. The paper on OHLI, or the Oral Health Literacy Instrument in Bahasa Malaysia, has been published. So I think you can contact Dr. Zul if you want to request for the Oral Health Literacy Instrument.
He's here. He's in
Yeah.
he's
All right.
Dr. Zul, say hi, Dr. Zul.
I
All
was
right,
also
so
the co-supervisor for Dr. Zul, so that's why I can share.
yeah, so I think we have finished all the questions. So with that, so dear Professor, we are very grateful that you for giving us such an enlightening and interesting presentations. So on behalf of MADPHS 2020 to 2022 Council, we would like to thank all participants for this webinar, for taking your time to attend this webinar. So before we end, we have posted the link for you to fill in your attendance and also evaluations and also your comments, like what you want us to do for the future. Before we end, we would like everybody, we highly encourage everybody to open your video, share your face for the photo sessions. All are highly encouraged to open your face so that we can take the photos as a kenangan, as a memory. Because nowadays we can't have a physical conference, so we should take the photos. Otherwise, no record anymore in the future that we have been here today, and so we can take the photos. So take your time to open your video. So later on we can take the photos. So we will get our host to take the photos. Okay. So ready? Because there are quite a number of views, so we need to flip to the second page. So just be patient. So get ready. So 1, 2, 3. So we take the photos. Those in the second page, please wait first. So we go for the second page. Okay. So there's many familiar faces. So our DBH family is growing. So we still have one more. I think one more. Okay. All right. check again. I think that's it. So all right. So ladies and gentlemen, we have I've taken the photos for everyone, so as a record. So thank you very much for your time for this webinar. I think we finished ahead of time as what Prof promised. Now it's 1:40, and then I think we have a total of I think over 100 participants. Just now the record was 110, so we had hit a good milestone. So there will be a third webinar which will take place in the month of August, about 2 months from now. So we will announce it in our Facebook. So do go to like our MADPHS Facebook. You can just Google it. Just now I already posted the address, and then you can follow our news. So around August. So please stay tuned and follow our Facebook page for further announcement. So with that, I thank you for your time, and have a good day and stay safe. All right. So we will keep our that one the link for until what time? What Dr. Annie?
Kita simpan sampai pukul 2.
We put until 2 p.m. and then I think we will close at 3 p.m. right, Dr. Hasrina?
Yes.
Right. So after 3 p.m. tutup already lah. So please quickly go and evaluate, and then you will get your certificate instantly. Yeah, that is the thing that we can't do in the past lah. So okay.
We just wait everybody to leave from the room, and then only we can close the session.
Yeah.
Thank
As
you,
a host,
everybody.
we wait.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both.
Dr. Annie?
Yes, saya.
Sorry. Okay. Email tu tak boleh can't fill the form. Okay, boleh. Right. Okay.
Boleh.
Make sure you write down your name properly, yeah.
And then make sure the email is correct. Kalau tak, e-cert tidak akan diberikan lah. E-cert tak akan sampai ke email tersebut.
Or if you don't receive it, go to check your spam, your spam email or your junk mail. Yep. So if any of you haven't received, then you can let us know, or you can contact your zone representative. That is the last resort.
So I can leave now, isn't it? Shall I leave now?
Oh yeah. Yes. Prof Iza,
right.
yeah, you can leave now.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay.
Iza.
Thank you, Prof.
All right. Okay.
See you.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye. Make sure everybody fill in the form before leave the session, yeah? Thank you.